Hello students, a very good morning again. Again we are here to discuss a new topic of the same chapter, Globalization of the Indian economy. Yesterday we discussed on globalization that it is a philosophy, globalization, a process of integration and interconnecting the markets of different countries. Coming closer, I also told you that it is because of globalization the whole world today have been converted into a large village. Like in village, people are very familiar with each other. Today, under globalization, countries are familiar with each other. We also discussed that no country can survive today if it claim that we can do everything alone. No, they have to depend on the other countries. We discussed that for raw material, for cheap labor, for markets, for skilled labor, etc., they have to depend on the others. I also gave you an example yesterday, the example of the Ford Motors. In your board examination paper, there are questions on American Ford Motors. When did it come to India? 1995. How the American Ford Motor is working in the country. So I told you it joined Mahindra and Mahindra. Mahindra and Mahindra was Indian company that was producing trucks, tires, etc. And I also told you that when multinational companies come to India or come to any other country, they go to any other country, they want small components for their production. Like for example, if American Ford Motors is establishing its plant in Chennai to produce motor cars, they need certain other things also needed to produce a car. So they joined Mahindra and Mahindra. It was a type, it was a method to interlink production. We discussed it in detail yesterday. And American Ford Motors, it began to produce its cars. In 2014, it was selling 77,000 cars in India and about 77,000 cars in Mexico, Brazil, South Africa, etc. Abroad, they were selling their cars. So rightly called American Ford Motors as MNC because it is not only producing their products by dividing their production process in different units. They are producing cars, selling them in India and also abroad. So it is rightly called MNC. So this question you get in board examination, so I thought that I should give it to you. So now NCERT pages 59, 60, 61, 62, 63 go through and explanation I am giving you. Give the example of American Ford Motors. Note down that in which year Ford Motors came to India. Note down that which Indian company was joined by American Ford Motors, and American Ford Motors, it also want to make Mahindra and Mahindra or India, the production work as a base for their production in different countries of the world. So it is a matter of proud for India also, and obviously American Ford Motors is doing very well in terms of production and earning money. Correct, students? Now we switch over to the next topic for today, and that will be integration of the market. See, very seriously, the three topics that are very similar to each other, but you have to give different examples and you have to take these topics very differently. If we recall our yesterday's topics, so the first was spreading production across the countries. Totally different topic, that how multinational companies, they divide their production process into smaller and smaller units so as to derive more and more profit and to cut their 50 to 60% cost. Correct? Second topic, interlinking of the production. Interlinking of the production consists of three ways. The first way was by joining the local company. The second way, the cheapest and the most easiest way to interlink production is buying the local companies, Parak Foods, Cargill Foods. And then the third third factor is interlinking of production, placing orders. When multinational companies, when big companies, when they place, actually small products they are not interested to produce. Small products like sports items, footwears and garments, they are not interested because better they feel it that they should be produced by mostly the developing countries. So they place order but they keep the monopoly in their own hands. The price tag, the tag of the quality, that where these products are produced or they are made, instructions, etc., they keep in their own hand, so as to show their monopoly over production. So interlinking production. So don't confuse between these topics: spreading production across the countries, industrial equipment making company. Interlinking of production, very clearly 3 ways by which multinational companies interlink production across the countries. And the third one, which I am explaining you today, is integration of the market. Integration of the market. And before that, we have to discuss some small topics, that is foreign trade. This one, the foreign trade and the integration of markets. Foreign trade, let us discuss it. First of all, what do you mean by foreign trade? Very simply explained, export and import taken together is known as foreign trade. Export and import taken together is known as foreign trade. For example, whatever India is exporting, whatever India is importing, the value of export and import, this is measured, and it is taken together when export and import. This is called foreign trade. Another simpler way you can explain this topic: when goods are exchanged locally between the people, between the states in a country, this is called trade, correct? But when goods and services are sold and purchased between the different countries of the world, this is called foreign trade. And students, foreign trade was the only route in the previous years, in the previous decades. Foreign trade was the only route connecting the countries together. You must have read about Silk routes. They were connecting South Africa, different parts of Europe. Marco Polo came to India from the same route from Italy. So these were connecting routes, and they were developed for trade. Silk route, particularly developed for to send silk from China. Chinese silk was very famous. And from India, spices, cotton, it went to the other countries. And we brought from the other countries whatever we needed, like technology. India was lacking in it. So trade routes. So foreign trade is this process by which goods and services are exchanged between the countries, between the different countries of the world. And I have given you a very simple line, that is export and import taken together is called foreign trade. And from foreign trade, we also carry out the balance of trade. If import exceeds export, it is unfavorable. And if export exceeds import, it is favorable balance of trade. We are more exporting, we are less importing, good. We are more importing, we are less exporting, not good, not favorable for a country. So like this, foreign trade is really a barometer, a measurement to know the growth and development of a country. So this is a measurement, this is an index which tells us that how much a country is growing. Foreign trade not only is connected, like we are talking mostly about the money, about the income. Foreign trade is not only connected to the income, it's one part, an important part, but it is also concerned with the exchange of cultures. Today we celebrate all the foreign festivals in India. What is it? It is the result of cultural exchanges due to foreign trade. Indian festivals celebrated outside. What is this? This is an outcome of foreign trade. So not only money is involved, that is the main factor, but also cultural pursuits. And people come together, they come to know about each other. And producers, they get a chance, they get an opportunity to improve. Traders, they get an opportunity to improve. We learn a lot from the other countries, and obviously it's a two-way process. They learn from us. And we have to be so qualified, we have to be so much expert in our work that the other countries, they would learn from Indians or from the developing countries also. So foreign trade is really a process by which the countries develop, they get opportunity to develop. Income is one factor, but it is for the cultural pursuits also, it is for the social connections also, it is for so many other benefits, including interaction between the people and integration of the market. Come to the point, integration of the market. And integration of the market you can very well explain by giving an example of Chinese toys in India. Integration of the market, producing the same products and the market get integrated. Producing the same products and integration of the market. Let us discuss an example from NCERT, Chinese toys in India. Indian toys being very costly, and Indian buyers, they were finding it very difficult to purchase Indian toys. They were quite costly in the market. Correct. Now, the Chinese toy makers came to know, it is globalization, I told you, countries are connected with each other. So, the toy producers in China learned that Indian toys are very costly and Indian buyers are unable to purchase those costly toys. So, what the Chinese toy makers did, they began to send Chinese toys in India. Indian toy shops, they replaced 80% of the toys with the Chinese toys because they were in demand. Plastic toys, very colorful, very cheap as compared to the Indian toys. So, only 20%, 10 or 20% Indian toys in the shops and 80%, more than 80% Chinese toys. What is happening here? What I am explaining you, keep in mind the topic integration of the market. Now, in this example, what is happening? Indian buyers, they have a choice because previously they were unable to buy toys for their children and now they have a choice, they can buy Chinese toys because they are cheap and good looking, colorful toys. Correct? So, they are getting benefit. And who is the other one getting benefit? Chinese toy makers. Because globalization says that there should be unhindered movement of goods and services. We will discuss this topic in detail in our coming lectures. Unhindered movement of goods and services between the countries. WTO's rule, the rule of the World Trade Organization. So, Chinese toy makers are prospering. They are becoming prosperous because their toys are in great demand in India. And who is suffering? Who is sufferer? Obviously, yes, you are right. Indian toy makers, because their toys are not in demand. Because nobody is showing anxiousness or keenness to buy their toys because they are quite costly. Soft toys and the other toys made in India. So, like this, in this example, you can see that there is integration of the markets. Two markets have been integrated, Indian toy market and the Chinese toy market. And we have discussed who is getting benefit and who is not getting benefit. We will discuss in the preceding chapter that what are the, must be going on in your mind that no, this is wrong, Indian toy makers, they have been perished. They have to close down their units because there is no demand. And we are giving opportunity to the other countries to sell their products in India. So, we will discuss it in detail later because the topic here cannot be discussed in detail. But one thing I must tell you that when the integration of the market takes place, it provides opportunity to the local buyers, it provides opportunity to the people of a country where the goods are coming from the other country. They compare the quality, they compare the price, they compare the price and then they decide which one to buy. And this is what happened in India due to the integration of Chinese toy market to the Indian toy market. I hope this topic is very clear to you with this example. Okay, I also told you don't keep in mind any doubt, just see that why this is all happening, because according to the rules and regulations of the World Trade Organization, WTO, international organization, there should be unhindered movement of goods and services between the countries and no restriction should be imposed on them. We will see it later that what type of restrictions we could put, because there was a debate on trade practices between the developing and developed countries, because WTO particularly have majority of the developed countries. We will discuss that how this will be criticized later and what was the outcome of it. Before that, we have another topic to discuss, that is factors enabling globalization, because without this we cannot go forward. So first of all, this topic comes, factors enabling globalization. Means what are those factors actually which have enabled globalization? The causes, the factors which made India and the other countries to become global. Do you know that there are mainly two factors that are responsible for enabling globalization? Correct? The first factor that we discuss is technology. Technology. And the second factor which is responsible for the growth of globalization is liberalization. This is a long topic for you. Liberalization. Technology, technological development and liberalization. Correct? Now, first of all, technology. Actually, my students, globalization is not new. It is very old. In your history chapter, which is deleted this session, making of the global world, if you have gone through that chapter, or if in your previous classes you must have read, that trade is also very old. And in the earlier times also, countries were connected with each other for trade. Even when the civilizations were growing, like Bronze Age civilization in India, civilizations and countries were being connected. Chinese civilization, Egyptian civilization, Indian civilization, Mesopotamian civilization connected to each other. And this was also, this was what? This was globalization, global. Countries are exchanging goods and services between them, and seals have been found, seals of one country in the other country. So this is trade. But there was lack of technology. Ships, they used to move in the ocean, in the seas, and it took 20 to 25 days to reach to the other corner. Today, we have very good ships, air conditioned. Previously, they were not air conditioned. If the perishable goods are carried in the ships, they were perished. So what the Europeans did, you know, Europeans used to slaughter animals in other countries and carry it in their own country for mutton, for chicken, etc. Because they were very much aware about their demographic problems. They were very much aware about their ecological balance. So they used to carry this, slaughtered animals. If they brought live animals, that could create lots of problems, because live animals, they wanted lots of space, and in between, when they didn't get good fodder, they used to become sick or die. So that was a loss. So what they did, Europeans, they slaughtered animals in other countries and brought it to their own country. Slaughtered animals also, because ships were not so good as we have today. They were not air conditioned, so that used to perish. And that was again a loss. So do you know what they did? They put the ice, big pieces of ice. They were placed inside the ship when they started from their route, from their country, till the destination they reached. It was cooled from the area from where they are bringing the slaughtered animals. Again, the ice, the big pieces of ice were put, and again the slaughtered animals were kept, and then again to their destination. So this was beginning of technology. So anyway, now here we will discuss IT, information technology, and obviously I have given you the example of ship, containers, scientifically made containers, etc. And then we will discuss about liberalization or privatization. That is all for today. Go through all these topics. We will proceed our chapter from these two topics tomorrow. Thank you.